Hi everyone. In this webinar, let's have a look at the Human Resource module of Fedena.
Here in Fedena, we can find Human Resource module under Administration. And under Human Resource module, the first thing that we will be looking at is HR settings. Under HR settings, we have few settings. Those are the basic settings that needs to be done before making an employee admission in Fedena. So let's begin the settings with employee category. So under the employee category, we are going to create those various categories of employees that are possibly there in your institution. There might be various different types of categories of employees in your institution. All that you're going to do here is list those categories by typing the names and prefix here, and you're going to create it. Just an example like how I've created is that I'm going to type the name of the employee category, let's say finance, and I'm going to type the prefix and I'm going to create it. So once I do this, it will automatically get listed below. I've created various categories like finance category, human resource category, librarian category, teachers category, and system admin. I can also create various other categories. Then we go back to setting, and the next thing that we have is the employee positions. Under each of these categories, there might be various positions. So here under finance category, let me say there are various positions like junior finance person, a senior finance manager, intern, an accountant. There are various positions that might be there in the institution. So all you have to do is select a category, give the position name and create it. So this way I have created various positions here. So one such example is that under human resource category, I've created a position named intern. And you can find that I have created it and it's getting listed below. So this way I've created various employee positions. And the next thing that I'm going to do is the employee department. There are various departments that can possibly be there in the institution, and you will have to list these departments so that you can assign such departments for an employee who joins the institution. So you can create the department by typing the name of the department here and the department code. And you can go for the option create. Now you will find a list of departments like how I've created here with a name and a code. The next thing that we have is the employee grades. The employee grades might not be a mandatory field. You can find that you're going to create various types of employee grades here. Each of these grades are given a name. Of course, I have given a name like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 and grade 4. The nomenclature depends on your institution, whereas each of these grades have a priority. As the priority decreases, the number of periods per day and the number of periods per week increases. So here you can see I've given a grade name 1, and that means the priority level is high. That means that I'm giving a priority level of 1, and in general, institutions have these high priority employees who take very few classes per day and per week. They might be involved in various other tasks that the number of periods they might be taking per day and week is less. So I'm here giving the maximum periods per day and maximum periods per week lesser than those employees who fall under the grade lower than that. So you can see the grade 2, which is second priority employee who are doing a maximum periods per day more than that of the previous grade employees. So this way around I've created various grades, and you can also create your own employee grades in your settings. And the next thing that we have in this option is working day setting. Under working day setting, you're going to enter the value for the number of working days in your institution. Before which you need to understand what kind of payslip pattern do you follow. Is it a monthly, is it weekly, or is it bi-weekly, or is it semi-monthly? You need to choose one of these pattern, of course, and you're going to enter the number of days. Let's just an example, the number of working days in a month can be 30, it can be 25, it can be 29. So based on how you consider, you're going to enter the number here. Let's say you consider the payslip to be generated on a weekly basis, then you need to enter the number of days that you consider as the number of working days. And the same applies for bi-weekly and semi-monthly. So once you enter these options here, the number of days will be considered for taking loss of pay. Now let's go back to the settings and let's go for the leave types. So here in the leave types, you're going to list the various leave types that is there in the institution, and by creating add leave type. So every time when you go for add leave type, you're going to give the leave type name and the code for a leave type and the leave count. Let's say I have a leave type called sick leave in my institution, where I'm giving the employees 10 days of sick leave for a duration. And the next question that Fedena is asking me is that how to manage the employee leave balance during leave reset. So if I'm going to reset these leaves, am I going to carry forward these leaves or am I going to discard the leftover leaves? If I'm going to carry forward, I'm going to enable this option. If I'm not going to carry forward, I'm going to enable the other option. Now, when I'm going to carry forward this leave, so how many leaves am I going to carry forward? Am I going to carry forward all the available leaves or a specific count? So if I'm going for a specific count, I can enter the count here. If not, I can go for all balanced leaves. The last and final option that we have here is additional leaves. So earlier, these leaves were not available, when now we have these additional leaves, which are nothing but the leaves that are taken apart from the leave types that we are going to create. So now when you create, when I apply for a leave exceeding the leave count that is given by the institution, the leave will be considered as additional leave and the institution can prefer to take it as a loss of pay or no salary deduction. So there are two options once again here is that liable for salary deduction and no salary deduction. I can go for any of these options and I can save this. So this way you're going to list the various types of leaves that is there in the institution. There are a few settings like bank settings and additional details. Going to the bank settings, these are the fields that you have to create to get the banking information from the employee. So you're going to create fields like bank account name, account number, bank name, branch name, and so on. So these fields can be created just by entering the name of the field and go for the option create. So this is the same thing that I did and you can see the various fields that I've created. These are just an example. You can also create various fields like this and these fields will be a part of your admission form. So when an employee is admitted in the institution, the admin can fill in these fields about the employee and you can save this. So by doing that, it's going to act as a database and later point of time when you want to have a look at the profile of the employee, you can check in these details. The same way to check more details or add more details, we have additional details option. So just like the student admission additional details, we have employee admission additional details. So here we can add few more additional fields that is already not available in Fedena. There might be few fields that you find not there in the admission form of Fedena. So you can create such fields here by giving a name of the field and input method. And if you want to make it mandatory, you can enable this as a mandatory option. Just an example that I'm giving is a passport number. Just that you can take information from your employees, the passport number, and to get the information as a passport number, you need the input method. Input method for a passport number is going to be a set of numbers and alphabets. So for that, you can give the input method to be text box. So it depends on the field, the input method is going to differ. So I have given text box and I'm going to save it. A different additional field which is verified to work in this country as a question I'm asking the employee who is going to join the institution and for which I need an input method. The employee has to select yes or no. So for that I have enabled the option checkbox and automatically Fedena asks me to create those fields, those options. So I'm going for add and I can give a value here. So I've given yes or no and I'm going to create it. This way I've created various additional details and these additional fields will be available in the human resource module where the employee is being admitted. That's all about the HR settings. The next thing that we are going to do is the employee management. Under employee management, the first thing that we can do is the employee admission. So here is where you're going to make the admission process in Fedena for an employee. As we've already discussed in the general setting, employee number can be automatically incremented as well. So based on my previous entry, the employee number is automatically incremented, and by default, the joining date is today's date. You can change the date by going to the calendar and select a different date if you want to. You can type in the name of the employee. You can fill in the other details. So below you find there are various fields like department, category, position, and grade. So these are the fields for which we did the settings. And now we are going to select those options for it. So department. Now we need to assign a department for this employee. So you can see the drop down. Drop down contains of various departments, the departments that is there in my institution, and I'm going to select one of them. So here I'm going to assign this employee to the Hindi department. And category, there might be various categories, and I have created these many categories, and I'm going to select one of it. The next thing I'm going to do is that under each of these categories, under this particular category, I have created various positions, and I'm going to assign one of the position to this employee. So I'm going to assign the senior teacher position to this employee. And you can notice that employee grade is not a mandatory field, whereas I can choose to assign a grade for this employee. You can also fill in the fields like job title, qualification, experience information, and total experience. You can fill in the personal details, contact details, setting, and you can save. Now you have this home address where you can fill in the home address and office address and save and proceed. Now you can see this bank details form. So here you can find the fields that I've created already in the settings. So those fields that were created there will be available here. That's exactly why I created these fields where you can fill in these fields and you can save it, right? Let me fill in these fields. I've filled in field and I'm going to save this. Now after I've saved it, the next thing that we have is the additional details. So the additional details are a set of questions that I created under the additional field option. So I wanted these fields to be a part of my admission form. So I've created these fields where you can see the name of the field and the input method just like how I've created. So I can fill in these fields as how I want. And you can find that just like how I've given the input method as a checkbox, I can enable one of these options and save. Now here we have the privileges for the employee. We have all the privileges possibly available, and we can assign a set of privileges for this employee. So if I want to assign all the privileges, I can select all of this. If I don't want to assign any of them, I can unassign few of these privileges. Same thing can be done since this employee is an academic employee. Let me assume I'm not assigning few of these privileges. I can assign other privileges like administration and finance if that employee has a power in that department as well. So right now I'm going to save this, and next step I'm going to do is assign a manager for this employee. So let me assign a manager. I'm assigning a manager and I'm going to save this. Here you can see add to payroll group. So here Fedena is asking me to assign a payroll group. So you can assign a payroll group for which you can assign a payroll group for which you need to create such payroll groups. Let's go back to the setting to just show you how it can be done. So let's go to the human resource and let's go to payroll and payslip management. So here we have various settings. Let's begin with the payroll category. So under payroll category, we are going to create those categories that is there in the institution. Here you can see the ones that I have created for an example. When you start using Fedena, it's going to be completely empty and you will have to create these. So to create a new one, I've gone for the option create payroll category, and while creating this, you can see I've given the name as basic pay, and I've given a category code. The category type is earning, and I've selected a value type to be formula. So let me just show you an example. Let me go back and show you an example. So here I have given the name to be, let's say, HRA, and I'm giving a category code as HRA, and the HRA is going to be an earning for the employee. So I'm making this an earning, and for the category value, the value type is going to be either numeric, formula, or conditions with formula. I can choose any of this. If I'm going to make it numeric, that means I'm going to enter the value for the employees right here. If there is one particular value that's going to be common for all employees, I can go and write it here. Rather, I can choose formula where this is going to depend on another factor and it's going to differ for each employee. So what is it going to depend upon is the next question. So let's make it as gross pay. So what I have given here on the basic pay is that I've given 50% of my gross pay is my basic pay. For an HRA allowance, let's say I'm making 20% of my gross pay as my HRA allowance. This way around, I'm creating various categories, which is going to be a part of my earning. And I need to make sure that the sum of all the earnings that I'm going to get should not be greater than the gross pay, for which the percentage value that I'm giving should not be more than 100%. It can be less, or it can be exactly 100. So at the same way I can create deductions. So while adding deductions, I can make it again dependable on another category, or I can give a numeric value as well. So these needs to be marked as deductions, and we can have these type of payroll categories listed here. So let's assume there are different type of payroll categories for different set of employees in your institution. So you're going to list all the different types here, irrespective of the group in which they're going to fall. Because in the next step under this setting, we are going to do is the grouping. So under payroll groups, we are going to group these categories into separate groups. Let's assume that you have a set of employees who have different payroll pattern or a different payroll category, whereas the other set of employees have a different payroll categories. So you will have to create a new group, and you will have to assign these categories by going by add option and give a name for it, and you're going to say when is the payslip needs to be generated, and you can create the payroll group. Now by doing that, you're going to enable the LOP option as well. So if you want to make this LOP criteria available, you can enable this option. If you don't want to, you can disable the option and create it. So this is how the payroll group works. So now going back to the admission form, so you need to understand these are some basic setting that needs to be done before coming to the admission process. So here you can see this is how I have created one of these groups that is available here. I'm selecting this group and I'm saying I use this group to Fedena. And automatically it takes in all the groups that I've created, and it takes in the fields as well. So now what I need to do is enter the gross pay, because all my earnings are dependable on my gross pay. So I'm giving a gross pay here, and I'm saying calculate. So based on the calculation that I've given, you can see the values here. The deductions are also dependable on my gross pay, and you can see the value here. Now if you're fine with this, you can go for assign payroll. So now the payroll has been assigned for the employee. Anytime you can come here and have a look at his payroll. So if you want to make changes, you can go back to edit to make a change in it. So that's about the employee admission. The next thing that you have is employee subject association. Under employee subject association, you're going to assign a particular employee for a particular subject. So you can go for a course or a class, you can go for a subject. You can see there is another employee assigned. You can opt to assign a different employee here. So let me assign an employee. This way, I'm going to assign employees for various subjects that is there in the institution. The next thing that we have is employee leave management. So under employee leave management, we have few settings here. We have the first thing that is the attendance register. So under attendance register, we can mark absence for employee, or we can have a look at the leaves that they have applied for. So you can go for the register on the basis of the department. You can either go for individual departments. So let me go for individual departments, and you can see there's calendar here. Let's say these are the list of employees available in the institution. You can see the calendar. On the current day, you can mark absence, or for the previous set days, you can mark absence. The next question is, how am I going to make absence here? One thing you need to remember, in Fedena, by default, all employees and students are present. And only when they are absent, you're going to mark absence for them by marking absence here. So if the employee is not applied for a leave, you can mark absence by selecting the cell, selecting one of the leave types, giving a reason here, and you can save. And or you can either choose this full day or off day option. Either you can choose the full day option and half day option, and you can save this. So here I'm going to mark absence for this employee by selecting the cell, and I'm going to select a leave type, enter a reason, and submit. I can mark absence here by selecting this cell, selecting one of the leave types, entering a reason here, and I can go for the option submit. So this way I can mark absence for any employee. Going back to the employee leave management, we have the attendance report. Under the attendance report, we have various departments which we can filter. So I can choose for all department or a specific department, and I can select to view any of these criterias. You can filter these dates as well. So here you get to see the leaves that is applied by each of these employees who belong to these departments. And you can take a CSV report of the filtered data. The next thing that we have is the leave reset option. So under leave reset, we can reset leaves, or we can make a leave reset setting. So under leave reset, there is an configuration that we can perform, which is already mentioned here, is that employees with the non-deduced LP leaves will be left out during leave reset. You can reset leaves by going for this option, or we can reset leaves for employee even if non-deducible LOP leaves are present. So we can choose any of this as how you want in your institution and save the setting. And apart from that, if you want to reset, you can reset for an employee by searching the name from a department, and you can reset their leaves immediately. The next thing that we have is leave application. We can have a look at the status of these applications right here. You can choose any department, and you can view the application by searching the employee name or by number. So if there is any leave applications, we can have a look at it, but that's only for the employees who have the privilege to view the application. In most cases, it happens only for the employees who are acting as a manager for few other employees or associates. They can view the application that is being sent by the other employees. So that's all about employee leave management. And the next thing that we have is the payroll and payslip management, in which we are done with payroll categories and payroll groups. Next thing that we have is the payslips for payroll groups. Here under payslip for payroll group, you can go for rejected payslips and have a look at any of those rejected payslips that is there in the institution, or you can come back and view the monthly payslips that is generated. So here you can see the 5 employees for whom the payslip is generated. You can go for generate payslip, and you can give a salary date, and you can go for proceed. So now you can view those two payslips which is generated and the two payslips which not generated. So you can generate payslip for all of these three employees by going for create payslip. Now you've created payslip for all these employees and you can view their payslip. So here you can see the status pending, approved, pending, approved. So these are pending because the finance person has not approved the payslip, whereas this payslip is approved because the payslip is being approved by the finance person. Once the payslip is being approved, it cannot be deleted, whereas if the payslip is in a pending state, it can be deleted. So here to view the payslip, you can go for view payslip. You can delete the payslip from here. For approved payslip, you can view the payslip, but you cannot delete, where you can only take the PDF report. So moving back to the payslips for payroll groups, let's go to the payslip for payroll management, where we have the next option, that is payslip for employees. So here under payslip for employees, we are going to have a look at the payslip that is being generated on the basis of the department. So here under each department, we are going to have various employees, and for each employee, the status of the payslip are displayed here. The next thing that we have is the rejected payslip. So here we get to see the rejected employee payslip, and we have the payslip settings which can be assigned. So based on how you want, you can customize your own payslip. You can select the fields that you want to have and uncheck the fields that you don't want to have. And you can save the setting. You can also have a look at the sample payslip and you can save the settings. The payslip report shows the employee payslip report. On a time duration, you can see how many payslips were generated, how many were approved, and how many were rejected, how many is still pending. Of all that, you can also see the total salary, approved salary, and the total employees who fall under each of these categories. So you can take a PDF report and a CSV report of this. So that's all about HR module, and the last thing that we have is the employee search. Under employee search, which is the default option that is there, you have the advanced setting where you can search for an employee by using any of these options, and you can search by going for the search option. By doing this, you can search for various type of employees in the institution. So that's all about the human resource module.